All right, that everyone write that shit down. There's that might be
Yes.
that might
Did
be
everybody get it, or want me to go one more time?
one more
Yeah, say
time.
it one more
One more
time.
time.
All right, because you know what? I didn't even name Noel.
Right, that everyone write that shit down.
All right, it's me.
Done.
Are you ready? So it's me, Renee, Chris, Karen, Jamel, Noel, Mahmoud, and Mike.
Gotcha.
Cool. Somebody said something like
Anderson,
you
what
know.
about me?
No, I did say whatever.
Got 9 people, dude.
I know it's a lot of people.
Well, a lot of it's going to be hearing.
Excuse me.
Okay. I'm just letting my mom to tell her to try watching live. I mean, again, so many videos have been ripped from us. We're starting from scratch on videos, so no one's gonna really watch this, and I'll edit it before we go live. Please make sure your things are on Do Not Disturb, everyone.
So the order is Anderson, Renee, Chris, Karen, Jamel, Sean, Noel, myself, and Mike.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Where's Sean?
my phone needs to
Excellent.
be on
After,
D and
And
D for
Sean.
this.
I'll just do after Jamel.
What
That's
you
what he
say,
said.
Jamel?
My phone need to be on D and D for this.
Well, I mean,
Nah, it doesn't have
no,
to.
you know,
Oh no,
Now
okay.
just hang
You're
up
making
as
everything
soon as the
confusing,
phone comes.
Chris.
yeah, yeah. Sorry for trying to be professional. Sorry. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to We Could Be Wrong, but who cares? I'm Anderson.
I'm Renee.
This is Chris.
This is Karen.
Jamel.
Sean.
Noel.
This is your dude, Mahmoud.
And Mike.
Welcome to We Could Be Wrong back on the live stream on YouTube. And if you like, we will also live stream on X, Facebook as well, and Instagram, but I think it'll be only clips. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running today's show with a rehash of last week. In a couple of seconds, Jamal will have that conversation that he wanted to say. And then after that, Renee has some topics he wanted to go through. I also want to say welcome to our live viewers on YouTube. Thank you for being able to find us. I appreciate that greatly. And I look forward to giving you a very entertaining show. Jamel, the floor is yours.
All right. Hey everyone. So last week we had the show and I felt like some people on the team may have perceived what I said wrong, and I just wanted to get it clear. So first I would like to I know Anderson, me and him talked, and he kind of understand what I was saying, not saying that he agreed with me, but at least understood my stance. Um, so I wanted to start off with speaking to Karen on what she perceived on what I said. How did it sound to her? What did it sound like that I said? So I can clarify some things.
Um, sorry, I didn't listen to our show last week after we recorded, so I was hoping that you would take the lead
Oh,
and
okay. So
refresh my memory.
so basically I was stating that when it comes to running for president and equality between men and women, that when we get to those areas or something so prestige as a president, that we have to treat each other the same way. Um, we shouldn't have to, I use the word coddle, anybody's emotions or feelings when it's running against the president, when you're running for president. And I guess it was looked at that I was calling women emotional, and some people said it was effed up that I what I said. So I want to see, did you remember what was my stance and how you perceived it?
Well, I think you kind of clarified your stance and like during the chat when we, you know, followed up um on the show. but I also have to apologize to the group because I did generalize when I said y'all keep talking down to women, and Chris checked me and reminded me that yeah, he has always agreed with me on a lot of my points or pushbacks in the past. But going back to the show, I think I just felt like I'll just address you, right? Where you were coming from, I felt as if when you said coddled, because obviously there is a we should, or our presidential nominees or whoever candidate should be treated equally, correct? They should undergo the same harsh or hard questioning to prove their qualification, I guess. But at the same time, some of the sentiments that were being shared, not specifically by you, Jamel, but certain people on the panel, and that's when I got upset a little, and I said, see, you guys just proved my point because I'm trying to answer Chris's question on why I became emotional and why I was, starting to become emotional during the show. And you guys immediately, or, a couple of you immediately shut me down and said, well, no, this is because this, blah, blah, blah. And I just feel like there hasn't been that much respect shown to the vice president. And I feel like, or I felt like at the time, and still do, that sometimes, women are still perceived as, like the traditional way of gender roles, right? That we have been taught growing up, that we belong in the kitchen, regardless how intelligent a woman is, they have to work 10 times harder than the male counterparts because it's just been, I don't know, that's just been the status quo, what's been accepted by our society and what we've been taught. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling on and on. I don't know if I answered your question.
I mean, you kind of did. I kind of understand where you're coming from. I guess that's the moment where we started to disagree with certain things you said. I do know that women do have struggles in our country, but we did move away from that. I look at it as a more positive way of what women have become now, and all the freedoms that they do have in this country, by far better than many countries across the world. So I guess that's what we was disagreeing with you, and I don't think Vice President Kamala was being treated the way she was treated because she's a woman. I just think that everybody looked at her as somebody running for the president and held her accountable. That's all I was trying to say. It came off as if like I was putting down women, and I just wanted to be clear, let everybody know that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to say it's got to be fair across the board.
Mike,
I kind of agree with you, Jamel, because that's kind of my point when I responded to Karen by saying, hey, that was your perception of that loss. I didn't perceive it in that manner. So just because you perceived it that way doesn't mean everyone did in regards to like women and those feelings. That's why it's good for you to share your point. But that doesn't mean all of us share that same perspective. I think that's what Jamel is trying to say as well too.
Yeah.
Mike,
Well,
I'm sorry. There it is. You're going to do what I was going to prompt. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah, well, I listened to the program, and my interpretation of what Karen was saying when she said, I cried, was, the man who was elected president of the United States had done over and over and over again, done a major personal attack on the candidate, and called her stupid, called her lazy, called her a retard, said she was worth nothing, said, the only reason she was even there was because she was a woman and because she was black. So what I heard Karen saying was, here we are, and this woman is being personally attacked over and over and over again at every rally by the guy that you guys, not you in the panel, but the guy that America elected as their president. And that's not how you treat people ever. You just don't. And some of you kind of said, well, she's running for president, all fair, love, and war. That's a personal attack. You don't degrade people. I can't imagine any of you would allow your children to degrade people just because they were against them in a competition.
Don't you think that President Trump been consistent no matter who was opposing him? He's been consistent with that type of behavior.
Especially, in my mind, especially against women. He's that's, to me it is. I just don't think.
It's funny how things are one way.
It kind of goes to Renee's point too, and I mentioned this before about the Christian thing. Renee, would you teach your children that it's okay to demean someone just because you're against them in a competition?
I believe in self-defense, and I think President Trump was attacked for 4 years by the Democratic Party and continued to be attacked throughout his campaign by everybody in the Democratic Party, by the media,
every candidate,
by courts,
Renee,
by the Justice Department. And I think he felt cornered, and I think that he was fighting back. And I'm proud of him for fighting back. And I think most of America agreed with him on that, and that's why they voted for him, the majority of Americans.
Well, that's why, that in my mind, maybe I'm off the mark, but in my mind, that's why Karen cried, because it's like, wow,
yeah,
that's acceptable. It's not acceptable to me.
And as far as women, there's the opposite. There's another view to that, because there's a lot of podcasts I listen to, and women are actually choosing career over family. They're choosing not to have children. They're choosing not to get married. I think women, to a point, are even stronger than ever, because I think we're losing our women. Like, people say you expect women to be in the kitchen and all this place like that. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's the opposite. Women no longer cook or want to be in the kitchen. They want careers. They don't want kids. They don't want marriage. I think it's the opposite.
Is that acceptable?
But that's a personal choice, though, right? I mean, you can't.
Yeah, that's fine. But you can't generalize and say all women, they're expected to be in the kitchen, when that's not true. And it's the opposite nowadays.
No, but I'm saying that's how I perceived you guys' sentiment, especially when we would have conversations, those long conversations. And I texted Chris on the side on some, as a response to some of your statements, because I felt like, well, how is it okay, or why is it okay that you guys can diminish or ignore her accomplishments and just say things like, oh, she only got, and perpetuating and amplifying the lies that she only got promoted to whatever elected positions she's had.
You could look on the internet around. You can look on the internet of when she ran for attorney general and when she was very popular in San Francisco. This is mainstream media articles about everybody bringing that up and wondering how she got those jobs. I'm not making that up. This is actual articles in the San Francisco Chronicle and a radio station, KGO, down here. Everybody was wondering at the time how she got those positions, and everybody was questioning if she got them because of Willie Brown. I mean, I live in the area. I know this.
And so I voted for her twice.
This is not something that I just made up. This is something that was an issue until recently, when everybody wants to erase her past. This is an actual thing. Noel might be able to back me up on this.
But Renee, to my point though, can I just appeal to you as a human being though, and as a woman? and
Sure.
being a dad to a woman.
No, but I
Don't you?
think I'm sorry. Go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Like if somebody, and I'm well, I'm not going to use your daughter as an excuse. I mean, as an example, but don't you think that it would have been more fair to attack her on her inadequacies or her shortcomings, instead of attacking her from that angle? Because
No, I think that was
Can,
unnecessary. I don't think I
can
should
I
have done that.
can I answer a little bit of Karen's questions?
Sure.
Sure. So Karen, just introduce myself. I have a 16-year-old son and I have a 11-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old daughter. To answer some of your question is like what I tell my children is, hey, you know what? There's a lot of bullying and hazing going on at their school at their age. And life isn't fair and life isn't nice. I have to speak, unfortunately, to my children and tell them, like, to answer your question, what you said earlier, and like what Renee said, I teach my children physically how to defend themselves and mentally how to defend themselves, because there's a lot of hazing and bullying going on. Some of the stuff these kids are going through at such a young age that my kids hear about, it is stuff that I would never imagine them listening to. So, or hearing from other kids, being teased and made fun of. But to answer your question of, I think what you're getting at is, how would I allow somebody to speak like that to my daughters? How would I feel about that? And I'm telling you right now how I feel. This is why I'm preparing my daughters mentally to be strong. One, let me explain. I'm a Christian. So I tell them, one, love yourself, learn to love yourself. If anything, God loves you. You don't need permission from anybody else or acceptance from anyone else. Okay, as long as you love yourself, you are going to be confident. With confidence, that transfers to character. Your character will shine. So these two candidates, male and female, their character was off the wall. I'll be the first to tell you that. Right? There was no character either way. But I'm going to say a little bit about Trump, then I'll say something about Harris. On Trump's end, I think there was a lot of emotion involved. The man was shot at twice. The man was put through the reamer. The man had his family attacked. His daughters attacked. So I believe the man had a lot more emotion and fuel behind him to continue with the rhetoric compared to Harris's position. So kind of like what Renee says, hey, if it's, if it was fair, if it was turned the other way, if Harris was shot at, if Harris was ridiculed, if Harris, all these things that happened to Trump came to her as a female, would she break down? Would she be able to stand those tides? Would she be able to do what he did? I guess that's what I wanted to voice that, if that makes any sense.
I followed you until you made the comparison. What would, like, if the tables were turned? Because
yeah,
but I agree with you. I agree with you that, and I've always said this, it starts at home, but at the same time, I was a little bit more hurt of how she was being spoken about and of in our chats, because I feel like, yeah, it's fine. Personal attacks, that's his MO. We should be used to it. But again, on a grander scheme of things, or looking at from a bigger picture of things, that's how we become desensitized in the name calling and disrespecting of people, because we either laugh it off as a joke, or, oh, well, tit for tat. That's what they do, right? Which we're making it okay. We're saying it's okay for this behavior to be perpetuated. I don't care which side is doing it. I don't think that at their level,
to demean people and put them down.
It's dehumanizing, and you're perpetuating the marginalization of those people that you're, talking about.
So being called a misogynist, being called garbage, being called, so I took it personal because I am outspoken. I have been MAGA from the beginning. I want to make America great again. I don't hide it. I was called garbage. I was called a terrorist. I take that personal. My wife over here, I can't even put my Trump sign out in front of my sign to support my president. I feel my rights were taken from me because my kids are getting shamed and getting teased. So As I notice, as the group of people that I associate with and I align with, a lot of the Christians that I go to church every Sunday and we have our worship groups on Wednesdays, we felt alienized for the longest time. I live in California, the mecca of the left, of the Democrat, and I have to deal with this. But I keep my mouth shut, but I keep my head up high. And I don't know what states y'all live in. I know Renee, I know where you live, but it's crazy up here in Silicon Valley. I can't put a sticker on my truck without my truck or my car being keyed. And that's no lie, I'm not exaggerating. That's ridiculous. I should be proud and feel free to be able to do something like that. I don't haze any of the people that put Harris up. It's your choice. That's the thing. Like I said, my children, they speak because they learn from home. When they get asked at their age at school, who are you voting for? Other little kids are asking. My kids come home and ask me, why are people so mean at me? Why are they mean to me? Because they ask who you support. These little kids having these conversations in 5th grade, 6th grade. You believe that? Politics is hitting 5th and 6th grade because they're hearing it from their parents. And my kids get teased because we support Donald Trump. They get made fun of and they get called monsters, and that they want to. They're idiots and they're retarded.
Can I add
Don't use
something?
that word.
What
Stop
kind of
using
parent-
that
Hold on,
word.
everyone. Hold on.
Oh, Lord.
I want to come in. I want to redirect because we're kind of getting in our own little world polls. So this is what I feel I want to express. I do absolutely hear Renee's, Noel's, and Karen's parts. I think one of the biggest pictures that we're not saying is when I heard Noel give how his children are being persecuted, you know, I understand how Noel connects with Trump when he was being called named and shamed, and but it's a little bit beyond that. And you know, Karen, I know a majority of us are Generation Xers. We have some boomers here as well and some Gen Zers. I don't mean to harp back to our age groups, but you know, the thing is the millennials and the Gen Zers think a little different. Karen, being a Gen Xer, is one of the few that really adapted to the changing of where society was going. But like Mike has always said, there's a big pendulum shift. And with Obama being in office and the shift that was happening, and then with Biden and woke culture, of course this was going to happen. The truth is this, Karen, you know, Vice President Harris was in a race with a candidate that he wasn't saying, I firmly don't believe he was saying those things about her because he was shot at once, and you know, and because he had another gentleman that pointed a gun but didn't shoot at him, so he was shot at once. There was a second attempt. He was doing that stuff with Hillary in 2016, you know, but that was the type of candidate he is. And the thing I feel that both sides are missing, Karen's side, is that society has changed, Karen. Even though we've become super tolerable and highly sensitive, a majority of us Americans are tired of that super sensitivity. And because of that, they've become more direct. Hey, I'm not going to bullshit you and be, oh, well, you know, no, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think you need to hear for us to move forward. And that is needed in this society, because when it comes to business, when it comes to families and interactions, we need to be more direct and not be around the bush, okay? So what I feel that the MAGA side is that, yes, you know, people were attacking, you know, President Trump because of the type of personality he is. And we understand that you're being attacked too, but I feel like you can't connect that with him. You know, this man is a successful businessman who has now become president twice in 2 different terms, not back to back. But the thing is that people attacking your children, they're fools. Of course, there are the kids. They don't know. And that does come at home. It's just because us as a culture, we're dividing 2 different ways. One way that wants to be super all about being, you know, inclusive, but yet if you disagree with something, they're quick to exclude you and throw you out. They want you to be so tolerant that they've become intolerant. And that's what the problem is. And that's what I feel Jamel was stating last week. He's like, look, he's like, Karen, I don't feel like her being a woman and all the things. I feel like she's in this position. She's here to play big leagues, so you got to play that big leagues. And this is just my way to tie this up because I don't want us to spin in circles. Yes, Karen, it sucks. It sucks that she was attacked like that. But because she was attacked like that, it doesn't mean that you need to be attacked like that because you're not that person. And if you ever run for office or do anything, that's the number one thing you should say. Hey, that's not who I am. Now, Vice President never acknowledged it because her handlers told her if you acknowledge it, you give power to it. Well, it didn't matter because it had power. She needed to confront it and acknowledge it. It's
No,
just
she did.
society
She
today.
mentioned Trump 316 times in one of her rallies, and it
Right.
was all negative. So that's
No,
all
no, I'm
bullshit.
talking about her sleeping her
She
way
said
to the
the
top.
last 3 rallies that she did, all she did was talk negative about Trump.
I think Chris summed it up. That was perfectly said, Chris. I think if we don't get it after what Chris just said, I think we just need to do our own soul searching or agree to disagree. So I think that was perfectly said, Chris.
Thank you. Renee, your topics and make sure everyone gets hit in this round table.
Okay, I'll run down my line. So I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but there was a leaker from the Harris campaign. She was part of the campaign and she was part of raising money from small time donors and was part of Kamala breaking the record of $1 billion raised. But a lot of things have come forward. This whistleblower has come forward because she said it's the right thing to do. Democrats, because they lost and because she wants to change that. She says that, by keeping these things secret, the truth about what happened with the $1 billion and not getting it out there, that just gives more people distrust Democrats. So what I want to bring up is the mismanagement of the $1 billion that she collected that now puts her $20 million in debt. She was able to blow $1 billion plus 20 million in 3 months. And what she spent it on has started to come out. And a lot of it was paying celebrities for endorsements, concerts, which she called rallies, free concerts, which she called rallies, millions of dollars to Beyonce, $10 million to Beyonce, $5 million to Megan Thee Stallion, $1 million to Oprah, which she denies, but actually went to Harpo Productions, her production company. $1.8 million to Eminem. And what I think about is all these small time donors, the people that were, spending $10, $20 for her to campaign, and to learn that the money was spent like that. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on it, since you guys are Democrats and may have donated to her, and how you feel about the waste of money. Go ahead, Sean.
I don't know, to be honest with you. What I just looked up said there's no evidence of this. I'm not saying there won't be coming out. I'm just saying right now the most recent.
It's on every news channel.
Okay.
Especially, and even the mainstream.
Okay, go ahead. Move on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The FEC has released some records.
Yeah, FCC or FCC. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Well, if you don't know anything about it, next person. Go ahead.
Donald Trump did reach out to some celebrities as well. I don't think it went over as well as Kamala. Kamala had a huge success with getting celebrities to come up to her rallies and perform and stuff. I know 50 Cent had mentioned that he was offered $3.5 million to perform the song Many Men for Donald Trump after he was almost assassinated. So they both parts was playing in that, but I do know I called this stuff. I was sending in the group chat a lot about how she has these celebrities who don't represent Black America like they should with their choice of music. to be performed at a rally. We have so many scholars that she could have reached out to. That was one of the reasons why I wasn't Team Kamala. So many scholars she could have reached out to come speak on her behalf and formulate a plan and speak what she can do for the people. But I'm not surprised when you see, and you know this is rabbit hole stuff, when you see so-called the whole Illuminati of celebrities get on stage and perform, you know something's up. You know something's not right. And I remember I told you guys why I'm keep getting things on my social media to donate money to Kamala Harris. And I was like, I don't get it. And then somebody said they get some from Trump too. So I'm not shocked about this. I seen it. I was wondering, was it free or was they paying? And that just solidified what I was thinking.
If the problem is that, you know, she burnt $1 billion in 3 months, what could she have done to this, you know, country's economy? Well, yeah, that's a problem. It upsets me that she paid how many million to Beyonce?
10 million.
Why, if Beyonce believed in her so much, why did she ask for 10 million?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'd wonder. Yeah.
You know, that proves to me that obviously she didn't believe in her that much. Listen, if I'm a famous Sean, did you want to interject with that? I'm sorry, man.
Well, the only thing I was saying is everything I've looked, because they have to publish what they spend their finances on. That's law. And every place I look right now, I'm not sure where Renee's getting it. And it may be true. I'm not saying it's not Renee. I'm just saying every place I'm looking right now, they say there's no evidence of it, that it's a story going on online.
Sean, if, from one of our live viewers, it's written that one thing is to hire artists. The other thing is to pay for endorsements.
Mm-hmm.
These are sounding like paid endorsements. And again, to spend $1 billion in 3 months, like, I mean, that is amazing to raise that much money. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, I said, well, again, I'd like to see the facts on that. I'd like to see where the data is coming from. You know, I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I want to see facts on it, and it would be from both sides. I don't care, you know, if Trump spent $1 million hiring Eminem. I mean, if they're both allowed to do it, it's fine. But I would like to see the fact sheet on it, because they have to report to the Elections Commission on what they spend their money on. It's not just a blank check.
I understand that, but a majority of the MAGA, you know, followers felt like they were looked down upon, and they felt like the elite had backed her. I think this is one of their major complaints when you see someone like Beyonce. I mean, it's a Beyonce to a Kid Rock, you know what I mean? And Trump, I'm going, go ahead.
I just want to say, throw out there before you keep going, Taylor Swift as well. Beyonce and Taylor Swift is the biggest artists in the world. So just want to throw that out before you continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's super mismanagement. The fact that you have two of the most influential female, you know, artists, and she still couldn't swing that. I'm upset because I'm a sore loser, you know? And I'm like, you're given all this opportunity and she burned it. Again, the people showed by the population that voted for President Trump to the state, to all the swing states that he got. And, you know, one of the reasons why I'm excited to have Renee lead is because maybe I've been wrong this whole time. Maybe I've been duped. Maybe I'm out of touch. Renee, go on.
Can we get Noel? Go ahead, Noel. How do you feel about that?
So I just want to kind of circle back to what Chris was saying. To me, it's scary of the mismanagement of that kind of funding. Like, that's a lot of money. I mean, was there something like a negative 20 million of deficit that she's unaccounted for? Or is that right?
Yeah. Currently, it's 20 million.
She owes a lot of vendors money.
Right. And again, Sean, I don't, this is just what I've been hearing on the radio news. I listen to a lot of radio news in my local radio news. So, but that's what I'm hearing from a couple of them. But that's what scares me is the mismanagement of the money, the hiring of celebrities, the way she tried to kind of, I mean, like somebody brought it up, you have to pay a celebrity, like someone like Elon Musk. Trump didn't pay Elon Musk. Elon Musk actually donated to his campaign. So I look at it as Trump had guys like Kid Rock, Joe Rogan, and all these guys. He wasn't necessarily paying them. They were supporting him. They were with him more than one time. They were with him at UFC fights. They were with him in public. He invited them to Mar-a-Lago. He had more of a connection with them. To me, that seemed more personable. I mean, that's all I really got to say about that.
All right, go ahead, Mahmoud.
I wonder when these funds were given out, whether it was during the campaign or if it was at the end of the campaign and they had leftover funds that they had to burn through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you're like a government agency and you have leftover funds, you want to burn through them so that you can get a better check the next year. But this is different because it's donations from the campaign fund.
Yeah.
But
No.
if the
Well-
question, what is my feelings towards these funds being donated to celebrities? It's a complete complete lack of distribution of funds. Like that, what rationale do you have to donate to celebrities? Why shouldn't we donate instead to like the medical agencies or cancer funds or homeless shelters or orphanage funds? I think those would be much more resourceful. I
Right.
have rationale to fucking donate to any celebrity. I really don't understand why you would do it.
No, just to be clear about it, they weren't donations. They were paid performances and stuff like that. That's what they're alleging. We could look deeper into it, but yeah, they're
That's
alleging.
part of the campaign, and that's a business tactic. What I don't agree with that either, because I said that in politics, I didn't want rapper and anything like that because it doesn't justify the position. That was my opinion earlier. So no,
But you know what, Mahmoud? It's I keep feeling embarrassed because there are rappers who have great messages and are political and are morally right. She just didn't choose those ones.
you're absolutely right. She did
You-
not choose those ones.
Yeah, you think of Common, how good he is. If she really was trying to reach the people with positive messages, she really had women up there singing songs that was super inappropriate. And it's like I put Logic together. Just think about it. You had a billionaire, Beyonce, up on stage endorsing a woman who said she wanted to tax billionaires more. So what Beyonce was telling us, hey man, vote for her because I want to pay y'all more taxes. That doesn't even make sense. It's just fishy all around.
Maybe Beyonce already pays her fair share of taxes.
So then we're gonna go billionaire by billionaire to see who pays the share of taxes. Like,
Well, shouldn't everybody pay their fair share of taxes?
but she's preaching to us that the billionaires don't. They use all the loopholes. And I know Beyonce and Jay-Z's not paying their fair share. I know they're not.
Well, they might. They might be.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. What's your feeling on this?
Well, I don't have much feeling because I'm looking on the computer like Sean is, and I read 6 things that said it's not true that Beyonce accepted $10 million.
Okay,
So
just
I
like
read-
Oprah said she did it.
Well, I don't know whether Oprah did either.
Harpo, it's
again,
FCC. It's
Let's-
is the FCC, Chris? She has to report it.
Yeah,
FCC, whatever.
yeah.
And then the Call Your Daddy podcast.
Where?
She spent
Okay.
$100,000 to rebuild the same studio in Washington because she didn't want to travel.
Okay, Renee, I do know
all this
one
is
thing.
reported.
I do know one thing. Okay, you continue to magnify the really negative things about Democrats. You
on
continue
the
to do that.
news.
The election is over. The election is
No,
over.
I understand that.
Okay, and yet your topic of choice is
Look,
wow.
you
don't
don't
feel
like what we're
bad?
talking about. You don't
Could
like
I
what we're
finish?
talking
Could
about.
I
That's
finish?
fine. It's my
Could I
turn.
finish?
It's my topics. If you don't want to answer them, you don't have to. You could say I'll pass
but
on
Renee,
this.
but Renee, you can't get offended when they try
No,
to
he's saying that
question you.
he's attacking
And
me now.
no, but he's questioning you. He's not attacking you, and that's your
No,
problem.
he's saying
You get
it's
offense
over.
every time
No,
somebody says
listen.
something.
No, hold on, Anderson. He just attacked me, saying that I keep on with the negative stories. This is a story that's currently in the news right now. I understand you don't
And
want to talk about it,
but it's in your
but
news
this
because
is what
no one
people are
else has
talking
heard
about.
about it. When they do their research, when they're doing their research real quick, they're like, we haven't heard anything about it. And then you're like, what? This shit has to be
No,
true
but
because I
I'm
heard it from
bringing it
here,
up.
but you don't
I'm
get
bringing it up.
and you, I know exactly. But when they contradict you, or you could say, quote unquote, you get mad, you get offended.
No, I don't. I got offended
You
that
Yeah,
he's
do,
attacking me,
Renee.
saying I'm bringing up like negative stories. I'm
I
bringing
don't
up
think I don't think
current
Mike got a chance to
news.
finish his statement though. Mike
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even
Okay, go
Let
ahead.
finish
Mike
Say
it
finish his
all
statement.
how
out.
I always bring up bad stories and negative.
But
Go ahead, finish
Now,
it
see
off.
what I mean? There you go
we didn't
again.
hear his punchline
Yeah.
though. We didn't hear the
That's what he's talking about. He was talking
No,
about
you
how he's
don't, because
bringing
you
up
never
negative
had him
stories.
finished.
Oh, go
But
ahead.
we
Finish.
didn't hear his
Can you let
punchline.
him finish?
We didn't know
Yeah,
why
I
he
don't
was
even,
saying that.
I
He
don't
was
even
saying
remember
it
what
for
it
a
is
reason.
now. Yeah. Yeah. What I'm not sure what the point here is, Renee. I guess that's kind of where I'm going. What's the point here?
My
What
point.
what
Here's my point. Here's my point.
yeah.
I'm surprised that it actually made the mainstream media because it's a negative story. We haven't heard any negative stories about Kamala for a while in the media. I mean, never really. There was never any negative stories. So now I feel like here's a story that's the other way. Let's talk about it. Let's see how Democratic voters feel about their donations being spent, you know, in crazy manner. That's how I feel about it. I think
But
I've heard it on CNN. I've heard it on NBC. I've heard it on Fox News. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen the story on TikTok. It's made a big wave. I think Joe Rogan talked about it. PBD podcast talked about it. So I'm under the assumption that you guys heard about the story, or at least have some kind of. So then I guess I'm the only one that's listening
No,
to the media.
no. So don't feel attacked, first and foremost. You have a good point, but the reason why other people haven't heard from it is because they're not getting the same sources you are. And that's what they're trying to say.
Okay.
The thing is, of
Okay.
course, I looked up the FEC records. The only $10 million is under some media company. It says something media, and I could read it to you now. It's
Go ahead.
the $10 million is, hold on, because I'm looking at all these millions that were spent. Is there's 10,740,000, and it's to DuPont Circle Strategies media buy. I don't know if that media buy is Beyonce or not. But the thing is, no one's telling you got this is what half of America, more than half of America feels. They feel that she spent her money wildly. One of the first questions you asked me was, Chris, did you donate to the Harris campaign? I said no, I did not donate. And you're like, I'm surprised. And if you did, would you have gotten mad?
Okay,
And
can I say
yeah,
something real quick? Chris
go ahead.
Cuomo. Chris
Okay,
Cuomo. That do you guys know who that is?
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
the brother of the ex-governor of New York.
Okay, Chris Cuomo did a one-on-one interview with the whistleblower, and it was how did Harris campaign blow $1 billion? This is the Cuomo. This is from News Nation. Cuomo is a Democrat. He's left-leaning. He supports Kamala. He did the story. I wish I could show it to you guys, but this is not me just making stuff up. And you can
No
do
one
all
said
your
you
searching on
are.
Google that you want. This is a story that's out there. It's a story that's being talked about. Since I'm trying to trend with
Yeah.
recent current news, I thought it'd be a good thing to bring it up.
Yeah, no,
But
it
apparently,
is.
I'm offending people,
No,
and
you're
I'm
not
putting negative
offending
stories out. So
people.
I don't know.
You're not offending people. It is a good story to bring up. And to be fully transparent, Chris Cuomo wrote in his brother's name for president. To be fully
Oh yeah,
transparent.
he did. Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
okay. So he did it for her.
He did support Kamala before.
Okay.
Okay,
Because
here's another one.
sure.
So then maybe I shouldn't bring up the whole FEMA fiasco.
Well, we've talked about FEMA before, right? And FEMA is something that's very interesting. But the thing is, this country shifted now. So let's I would like to talk about some positive things that President Trump is
Okay,
planning to do. He was
let's
in the
change
Oval
everything.
Office
How do you
today.
guys feel about his endorsement, his cabinet endorsement? We could run through them and then
Yeah,
see how you feel about them.
absolutely. I could tell you one that I hate right off the bat, and that's Matt Gaetz. I can't stand Matt Gaetz. I think he might be I mean, he's been accused. There's been a bipartisan council that had Trumpers in it that feel like he's unethical. Now
Okay.
that could disappear. That's the only one I disagree with. I think it's super cool that he hired the first woman chief of staff. I thought that was amazing, you know. And the fact is, you know, for those who show loyalty to him, he's there.
Okay.
A lot better than a lot of other politicians.
So Matt Gaetz, I'd like to put what I think about it. Matt Gaetz is known for trying to weed out corruption in the government. I don't know if you guys ever looked at all when you know in Congress when they question all the stuff that's happening, and he was questioning you know, the DOJ about you know, he wanted to see records whether they had communications with the state to bring charges on Trump. So he's hated because of that, first of all. Then they tried to bring up cases that he was supposedly sleeping with younger women. No charges were brought against him. Nothing came out of that. So if that's why you hate him, then I'm the opposite. I like him because he tried to bring out the truth about what was happening with Trump. Everybody else hates him because of that. And they try to villainize him and make him look bad, whatever. Okay, not everyone's going to agree with Matt Gaetz. What about the rest of the people?
Again, I don't know the woman's name that he has for chief of staff, but I think
I had the list right now.
Susie Willis.
She's the first woman to ever be nominated as chief of staff. Does anyone know?
Her name is.
We're not going to know I don't think we're going to know these people well enough, you guys, to, you know, that's going to be tricky unless you really follow.
Some of them I've done research on.
Renee.
Yeah.
Okay, how about man,
Yeah,
I just
got
had
one.
the list. Go ahead.
Go for it, Anderson.
I got one. You know, the one I like actually, because she was in the military, was Tulsi Gabbard, head of the National Intelligence. Just because she was in the military, so I'm assuming she knows what she's doing. So, and it's kind of cool to have a female as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like
But the Matt Gaetz,
Love that,
Matt
dude.
Gaetz, I totally. And then the Matt Gaetz, of course, I think he's a piece of shit. So, that's just what I
Here we
think.
go.
I just love seeing
You're accused of going out with a 17-year-old. Come on,
Anderson
dude.
give us
I
a
mean,
curse word every episode. Just one.
Yeah.
That's like
Susie-
Well, yeah, of course.
it's tradition.
Okay, Susie Wiles, the first ever female House Chief of Staff. How do you guys feel about her?
Again,
Marco Rubio, Secretary of State.
His choice.
Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. It's like he's
Okay,
Secretary.
here's a very controversial one. Pete Hegseth.
Yeah. He has no experience.
He has no experience. He
was an
Are you
Army
sure?
officer. Yes, I am sure. I've done research on a lot of these guys, Renee.
Okay, let's
He's a friend with Trump and he's a loyalist. He lacks any senior military or national security experience.
John, why don't you just give us a brief rundown on all of them?
Well, I mean, some of the ones I think he did a reasonably good job on, but I mean, we know
Let's start
President
with
Trump.
those.
We know President Trump. He's going to pick loyalists.
Yeah.
I didn't like Mike Huckabee for ambassador to Israel. I like Mike Huckabee in general, but he's definitely anti-Palestinian. He's made this clear from the beginning. And Matt Gaetz, I was not a fan of because he's still under investigation by the House Ethics Committee.
Yeah.
John Ratcliffe, CIA director. I think that's a good call. He was the director of the National Intelligence Agency during the first administration for Trump. So he has some experience. I think he's a good man. My big concern was Vivek and Elon under this new Department of Government Efficiency. So they're starting off a Department of Government Efficiency paying 2 people to run it. That doesn't sound like government efficiency
It's not
to
going
me.
to just be two people, though, Sean. They're going to have staff.
Well, I know, but I'm saying he's got 2 leaders, you know?
Yeah, by
But
the
it's
way,
efficient
I
to have
don't
two
think
leaders.
Elon's getting a salary from that at all. He's totally doing it on his, to try to help finance or the efficiency of the government. Also, the reason why he picked Elon was because of what he did with Twitter. He was able to go in there and pretty much prove that you don't need all that waste from Twitter and brought it down to the bare minimum and made it successful.
I hope he does a good job. I pray
As
he does a
far
good
as
job.
P Hedgewith or whatever his name is.
Yep.
The
Fox
did you
News
look at
host.
all? Did you? Okay, that's what upsets me is that everybody forgets that he's 20 years. He was in Afghanistan. He was in Iraq.
He wasn't retired.
Yes, he
He's not
was.
20 years. I don't
Hold
think.
on.
No.
Oh, yeah, 20 years. So he has he had the awards he won was the 2-time Bronze Stars, the Army Convention Medal 2 times, the National Defense Service Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Expert Infantry Badge, and the Combat Infantry Badge.
Not to
only
sound
that-
bad, but I have many awards. Doesn't mean I'm qualified to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some of
Okay,
that's
but
just,
see, that's what I understand when Biden was hiring DEI and hired that tranny to run the Health Department, and then he hired that bald-headed other tranny, the one that was stealing the dresses. No one said a word about that.
we didn't talk about them. We didn't talk about them.
Trump's hiring credible people that I think are good, and everyone's up in arms on the left.
No one's up
It's
in arms,
crazy.
dude. You asked us about it.
wow.
You asked us about it.
Well, first you said you're downplaying, just like you tried to downplay the votes last week. So he only got 71. Turns out he got 74 million after all the votes were counted.
Actually, 75, dude.
74 million.
75.
Okay.
What is wrong with
But at
Renee?
the time, you were trying to
What's wrong
downplay
with
it.
facts, Renee? Renee, what's
No,
wrong with
hold on.
facts?
He was trying
I'm just
to
wondering
say that
because you get
Trump
so
only got-
offended.
No, listen. Trump only got 71 million votes. You jumped the gun, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but that's what I said. He's got 75 now.
Okay, but don't you feel silly now?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Last
well-
week when we talked, he had 71.
Guys, do you remember when we had the therapist come on the show to talk to us? We're not enemies here.
No.
We get it. We get it, dude. Trump won. I
Yeah.
am all for Trump. I'm giving Trump 2 years to wow me. And so far he's doing a great job. It's so far he's doing a great job. I disagree with the Matt Gaetz. Now, as for what Biden did with the DEIs, yeah, dude, I get it. But you were up in arms. You hated it.
I wasn't.
You understood.
Yeah, but I was vilified for that.
By who?
I was called a homophobe. I was called all kinds of stuff just
Renee,
because I didn't. I was actually
absolutely
called,
wrong.
No, but listen though, I was called just recently. You guys said that I said the only reason Kamala Harris was picked because she was a black woman. That's a fact. Biden announced that he was going to pick a black woman. That's who he was.
This is funny.
I didn't say he.
No, it's funny. Yeah, we talking about a black woman.
He didn't say he's going to hire someone with merit or
privilege. Black women is not privileged.
Is it my fault or is it Trump's fault? Trump could have said, Biden could have said, I'm going to hire the most qualified woman. And then, guess what? It happened to be a black woman. No, he said, I'm going to pick a black woman to be vice president. I didn't say he said.
Well, and I think if we look at it when we talked about it, a lot of us said that's stupid. Why would you say that?
Yeah, we pretty much agreed with that concept.
Yeah, but none of us agreed with it.
Thought it was dumb to say it.
Yeah.
But wait a minute.
We agree. I'm sorry.
If a lot of people didn't agree with it, I have to ask, why would people want her to be or vote for her to be the president?
Because
No,
a
it
lot
was
of
the way
people
he said
hated
it.
Trump.
It was the way he said it. Yeah, it was the way he said it. Noel. He should have said, like Renee said, I want to pick the best person. If it happened to be a black woman, great. Yeah, we all kind of agreed with that.
But I think at the time the DEI thing was really big, and he was trying to meet that quota. He had a tranny. He had a gay. He had Pete Buttigieg, who was a gay. He needed to fill that spot, the black woman spot.
You don't think Pete Buttigieg was qualified?
I know, not now, not after everything that's happened with energy and everything. He's totally not qualified.
Mm.
It's a mess.
It's very
How
common, by
is
the
it a
way.
mess?
Dude, gas prices, the whole Green Deal stuff, all that going on, dude, the energy.
So it's Buttigieg
That's
and
ridiculous.
Biden's fault.
Well, no, Pete
And the gays.
he's
And the
in
gays.
charge of that. He's in charge of that.
Renee, you know the president cannot control gas prices. You know that, right?
Yes, he can. All he has to do is reverse drilling, reverse
Renee,
pipelines, blow up pipelines. do everything
in the
he
last
can.
2 years, the United States is drilling more oil than any country in the history of the world.
In the last, was
2
it how
years.
many
Who are they
months
selling it
before?
to? Who are
Well,
they selling it to?
Well,
Not
for some
to us.
reason
I
they're
know we
selling.
ain't keeping it.
Well, why wouldn't we be?
We're
I think
not.
let's blame the. Wait a minute. I don't. Noel,
Guess
I don't
what
think,
now?
I think that would be on the oil companies, isn't it? It's not on.
No.
Okay,
It's not on the oil
guys.
companies.
The president can't force a company to sell to whoever they want to sell to. You guys. I mean,
Time
wasn't
for
it a
show.
while
You're
ago?
gonna have to probably
Renee,
bring this up next week.
Renee, didn't you
Hold
criticize
on.
a while
Why
ago that
is
they
it that
opened up?
why is it as soon as Trump was announced president, like 20 foreign countries came forward and said they're no longer buying the gas from Russia now. They're going to start buying it from the U.S. Why do you think that's happening?
I don't know that it's happening. I don't know.
It's happening. It's on the news.
Guys, we ran out of time. The show's up. Renee, can you please close this out?
Can I ask for a favor?
Yeah, please.
Can we do 2 separate shows, one with the liberals and one with people that have their heads on straight, please, in the future?
No.
Wow.
So
No.
call it
Because
the
I want to be able
fictional.
to talk
and the
freely
truth.
without being attacked about my what I want to talk about.
You're
Now,
not getting
you know?
attacked. See, there we go.
Well, see,
You're
if you
getting you get offended.
You just got to
No,
change the name to
because
That's what
it
I
the
seems
know
show's
like
I'm
about.
wrong.
I'm not gonna be able to talk
Disagreements,
about
Renee.
anything because it's negative. I want to be able to talk the truth, like
No
what's
one's
really
saying
going
you're
on without
negative.
having to hide anything.
When we disagree with you, Renee, you go up